I investigated Fallout 76's abandoned servers. When it was released 7 years ago, it quickly became the worst launch in gaming history. It was such a tremendous failure. Stores were literally giving the game out for free, and people still didn't want to play it. But now, almost a decade later, I'm investigating the 5 biggest critiques of Fallout 76 launch and comparing it to the current version. And I have no choice but to start at the most obvious point: the bugs. To put it as simple as possible, the game was barely playable due to the absolute bugginess, if that even is a word. Literally every aspect of the game was broken. The quest, soft lock. The NPCs, T-posing. The environment, literally falling apart. You could even become hard stuck before even finishing character customization. But I will tell you more about that later. First, I need to mention the absolute game-breaking glitch that broke the entire Fallout 76 economy, because the players were literally stealing items from the developers from under their noses, because they were glitching their way into the secret developer area and simply looting the normally inaccessible items from there and reselling them to the rest of the players. And this was not some day one glitch that got patched out immediately. This stayed in the game for months and months without them fixing it. And by the time they have patched it, Fallout 76 had received more inflation than the Weimar Republic. But going back to the vault, if you spend too much time customizing your character at the start of the game and waiting too long before you leave the vault, the entire game would break. And it was impossible to play on that character, to you being stuck in an infinite crash loop every time you try to leave. And all the time you spent customizing is totally wasted, and you just have to delete it and start over again. And there were even more problems, like at the launch of the game, everyone was forced to use an open mic, so the whole server turned into an unmutable Call of Duty lobby.
Listening to somebody else. We should be fucking... What the fuck? This is fucking ridiculous. What is the options button? Kujay, who the fuck is talking right now? Shut the fuck up! Tell your mom to shut up! I'm trying to fucking play Fallout!
So from the big to the small things, every part of the game was completely broken. But now, in the year of our Lord 2025, is Fallout 76 still broken? Not really. The game still has bugs. You might run into them here or there every couple of hours. But usually there is a minor visual bug. But it's not everything everywhere all at once. So the bug problem, I will give it a good. The game has the worst story out of any Fallout game, but I can assume you didn't play it, so I will give you the cliff notes. You are a vault dweller who was finally released into the open world of Appalachia, and your mission is to find its holotapes, aka MP3 files, left by your vault overseer, aka your boss, all over the map. And as you walk and explore the world, you will find more of these holotapes. And they will tell you the official excuse why there are no NPCs in the game. The lore goes like this. The Scorched Plague has spread throughout the land, turning anyone infected into zombies or even also statues. And also for some reason, the statues are super brittle and fall apart the second you touch them. So how don't they just, blow away with the wind? But anyway, as you find more holotapes, you'll find out the Scorched Plague comes from the Scorched Queen, and she has her lair in the evil red part of the map. Holy moly. This is high quality writing. So the overseer tells you to gather nuclear launch codes, then just use a missile to nuke the queen, finishing her off in a not so epic final battle. You just have to stand in the same place and shoot at the boss. And once she is dead, you have ended the plague, and that's the whole story. No different options, no character dramas. Go here, do this, and then listen to these holotapes. So the original story of the game was short, linear, very shallow, or in other words, it failed in every aspect. But did they change that 7 years after launch? No, but instead what they did was simply pushing the original story to the side and redirecting all the players to the new ones, and wanting them to immediately interact with the Wastelanders expansion, the update where NPCs were finally added. And together with that, they also added 2 factions, the Raiders and the Settlers, which are the 2 worst and blandest factions in any Fallout game ever. The Raiders are simply comically evil people who like killing, raiding, and being evil, because they are raiders and evil, while the Settlers are good guys who believe in equality living in peace, sharing and caring. Because they are nice people and they like being nice. But what do you do? How do you interact with these factions? Both of them will give you daily quests, which you grind for reputation, where you can unlock rewards. And they both also have some story quests. In later updates, they also added the Brotherhood of Steel and the Enclave. But they have no reputation and only require you to do different quests. But in the end, this did not fill the gaping hole which is the story. Is it better than the launch? I would say it went from absolutely terrible to bad. But one of the most important parts of the game, the end game gameplay loop, which you will experience after you complete the main story of the game, where you reach the point where you have to repeat the same thing over and over again to actually progress instead of having new gameplay, just to get the best gear or the best weapon or some sort of achievement. A natural part of any MMO, and it's the make or break part of a game. If this sucks, everyone will simply quit after completing the story. So what was the gameplay loop at launch? To put it as simple as possible, you need to repeat group world quests to obtain legendary items. And pretty much all of them were stand in this place, kill mobs until they're all dead, or escort this NPC. So you had pretty much two options. Repeat the same boring mission over and over again, or go online and buy your optimal gear there. So let's say you decided to do the legit way and actually grind out the legendaries. So every armor slot you have could have 3 different legendary effects, which are all random, and the armor type you get dropped is also random. Together with the weapons, which have also 3 slots and are random. So if you want to have maxed out armor, everything, the perfect effect, the likelihood of you getting all of that is 0.000245, or about 1 in 400,000. So at the launch of the game, that is the likelihood you get what you want. And if you don't believe me, here is someone doing the math. Pause the video if you want to read it. I can easily say the game is purely luck based. If you don't just, go online and buy the items, of course. But now, is it better? Yes and no. The old system, where the only goal is getting lucky and receiving a rare item, is still in the game. But they've added multiple ways to give the players bad luck protection. For example, at launch, if you got a bad drop, you had no use for it, except just throwing the item away. But in the current game, the thing you can do now is you walk to one of the scrapping machines, destroy the item, in exchange for a special currency, which you can use at the legendary shop to receive a random item of your choosing, split up between armor, power armor, melee weapon, and ranged weapon. So if you're unlucky, you have more chances to receive an item. And if you scrap them in a normal workbench and not the legendary scrapping machine, you have a low chance of receiving a schematic for the specific legendary effect which you want. And then you can add that legendary effect on the weapon of your choosing. But that is very rare. And some of the biggest luck things are now reduced. Another way they have reduced the luck in the game, if you receive a 1-star legendary instead of a 3-star, you can randomly roll on the rest of the stars. So the 1-star legendaries are no longer useless. A tactic people uses is when you're buying legendaries, instead of buying the 3 stars, you can simply buy the 1 star, look if the first and most important star is good, and then roll on the rest. They have also added multiple new features instead of the simple world quest, like the daily ops, when you have a daily mission where you can receive multiple legendaries at the same time, every day, just for completing a small timed dungeon, where you have to go in, kill some mobs, usually defend some objectives, and leave in less than 20 minutes. And on top of that, they have also added expeditions, where together with a team, you go out brand new zone and complete missions there to receive extra loot. And lastly, they have also added raids, where you go into a enclosed zone, kill a really strong boss, and you receive loot. They usually have like 3 mechanics, so they're pretty easy if you have good armor. And on top of that, there are some more variation in the different world quests you do. So compared to the start of the game, there are more events, more ways to receive them through daily ops, missions, and raids, and you have more bad luck protection, meaning there's less RNG now than before. Because of the removal of a lot of the bad luck and the addition of more events, missions, ops, and raids, I will move it from really bad undercooked, because the fundamental problem is still there. It's a purely luck-based system where you constantly have to grind for extremely rare items. Content cadence is a very important thing to keep any multiplayer game alive. And at the launch of the game, it was really bad. In the first 1.5 years, there were a total of 2 quote-unquote main updates. And when I say main update, I'm using the Bethesda definition. So, not that large. The first update received was the Wild Appalachia. And all we got, some more quests, some more world events. The same thing can be said to the next update, Nuclear Winter. The main feature of this update was the really undercooked Battle Royale feature that literally no one asked for. And a couple of years later, they obviously shut it down because no one was playing it. Only after 1.5 years, the game got its first real major update, which added something of value, Wastelanders, where they finally added NPCs, a new story, actual factions, the really bad ones if you remember, and also the game went to Steam. Before it being on Steam, it was actually on the Bethesda launcher, if you remember that one. Yeah, they used to have a launcher. I didn't even remember it. Only being reminded when I did research for this video. And that update was the time players said the game is finally making a comeback. And a lot of players came back to the game or even bought it for the first time. But continuing with the updates. In September of 2022, 2 years after launch, they added daily ops to the game, a feature I already mentioned earlier. From there on, there were 2 years of minor patches, updating new quests, new events, some new factions, but nothing really of value. Until 2022, where they finally added expeditions to the game, with the Pit update, where you could go to, obviously, the Pit, a zone you already visited in Fallout 3. And since then, we have gotten one new expedition in Atlanta. But in 2024, they actually updated the game with another significant update. For the first time, expanded the map to the south with new store events, new zones, and new quests, new missions, and more. So I could at least say we have gotten more updates in the last year than we got for the first 2 years of the game. And also the first map expansion. But we can't forget, some of the new updates has also gotten a fair share of hate from a large part of the community, like the most recent Google update. But because of the fact we're actually getting updates, I will move it from a really bad to enjoyable. I would rather get a couple of mediocre updates than no updates at all. Plus, they had their first map expansion. At the launch of the game, Bethesda promised the players they will not add anything pay to win. You will not be able to buy items, buy upgrades for real money.
I lied.
Or did they? Because you can't buy things for real money, obviously, but you can buy a currency which you can use to buy things. Aha! Isn't that funny? How pay to win is the game? What are you able to buy? In the game, you're able to buy bonus camps, obviously level boosts, weapons, that's not the major things. You're also able to buy repair kits, where you can instantly repair your armor, weapons, and more for free. And also scrap kit, where all the trash in your inventory gets automatically scrapped from wherever you are by simply clicking it. They're also selling 1 hour XP boost for all the players who want it, food buffs, which will remove your hunger for 1 hour, and also carrying capacity buffs, which will make you be able to carry more things. Also, a combat buff, which makes you and your friends stronger when you're in combat, obviously. Daily quest reloads, so you can complete more quests in a shorter period of time, and bonuses, so you get more points when you're doing things. But if you thought the one-time purchases was all, you're obviously wrong. They also have a subscription service. Wow! Where you get even more boost, even more carrying capacity, some cosmetics. You can host your own private server, the Battle Pass, where you can buy premium Battle Pass for not only more cosmetics, more actual useful items like the XP boosts, food buffs, legendary modules, which is used to make legendary items, legendary scraps, which you can use to buy more legendary items, gold bullions, which is used to buy extremely rare plants, or pretty much all of the main currencies in the game. In the span of 5 years, they went from pretty good, they actually had no pay-to-win features, to using your wallet, you can buy pretty much anything you could ever want. Defenders of the game will say, no, you still have to grind to obtain the items. The grind is significantly shorter than for everyone else. So I will put it in the bottom tier, worse than at launch. So after 5 years of development, It went from unplayable to a pretty bad, or if you're generous, a mediocre MMORPG, which is very pay to win. The real problems of the game is fundamental. The endgame gameplay loop is terrible, the content cadence isn't that good, it's better than at launch, but it's still not good, and lastly, the game is pay to win. I believe most of the players playing the game are simply playing it for the Fallout IP. If this game wasn't tied to a popular brand like Fallout, it would have probably have been dead 5 years ago. In conclusion, do I recommend the game? I don't.